diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Matthew Marvin, who is an offensive lineman out of Stonehill College. How's it going, sir?
It's good.
Cool. Well, why don't you go ahead, just give me a brief summary of your career so far, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm from Goshen, New York. I went to Goshen Central High School. I was recruited by Stonehill College from Coach Petraka, who's no longer here. He's at UConn, but he's also a great coach, awesome guy. But he was able to get me into the door at Stonehill, and from there, freshman, sophomore, junior year, I was able to eventually start all 3 years. I ended up playing my sixth game my freshman year. I was playing New Haven. One guy went down. I was able to get in there. I was able to play and actually perform very well. So eventually, the next 4 games, they had me starting at the right guard position, and I think I did pretty well. And then my sophomore year, they moved me out to left guard, and I think that was pretty much just them trying to get me ready to move out to that left tackle position, because our left tackle was a senior, and he just needed a little help it gave me a lot of help to get out there to the left tackle position, which eventually I ended up playing my junior year, and that's when we ended up playing my senior year as well.
So that's kind of interesting. I mean, you've kind of had a little bit of journey there on the offensive line, right guard, left guard, and then now, left tackle. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, did you play any other positions? Even going back to high school. I mean, I'm assuming most guys, that play the line both sides. So,
Yeah.
Play any other position?
Yeah, all my life I played offensive line and defensive line. I was a defensive tackle, and my junior year, I was a defensive end.
Cool. What do you think is one of your better qualities as a player, one of the best attributes that you bring to the table?
I'm willing to learn. I'm teachable. I'm coachable. If you give me something I need to work on, I'll work on it until I have that perfected. I mean, that's the mentality I've had since I started playing college football. At least it's just work on one thing every day until I perfect it, and then I can move on to the next. And it's definitely worked out into my favor. I was able to start that freshman year, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, I mean, you've actually done pretty well for yourself there. I mean, as a freshman, I mean, you made the all-rookie team for your conference, and then last year you made first-team all-conference as well in the NE10. So, I mean, at least, somebody recognizes what you're doing there. So, I mean, you're obviously doing a great job. So, Matt, I was going to just ask you really just about this offseason. I mean, with COVID-19 sort of, kind of throwing a curveball into our plans, walk me through this off season for you. I mean, how have you been trying to stay motivated during this time?
Yeah, COVID definitely threw us a curveball. I was on my spring break for college, and that's when it all hit. And the college told us, you can't come back for another week. You need to schedule these times. There needs to be people spaced out every hour or so. Everyone's room's got to be cleaned. You have to schedule times to get your stuff out and go home. And that definitely was tough, because all the gyms were closed. I can't see any of my teammates. I can't see any of my friends. We were thrown into that quarantine period, and it pretty much is still going on right now. But it definitely was tough for me on a football aspect, because I wasn't able to, go to those gyms because they were closed because of COVID. I wasn't able to go to those fields, those parks, to go run and go work out because of COVID. So it definitely was difficult. It definitely made me, try to think of creative ways to get my workouts in. I was using my kitchen my kitchen chairs to do different things, whether it was rows or like IYTs or stuff like that, just to stay in shape. I actually put cans into a backpack and used that to do squats, rows, and different workouts as well. But eventually I ended up getting a couple dumbbells, so I was able to do a bunch of different workouts on that with a bench and just, try to stay in shape until the gyms reopened. But luckily they did end up reopening, because I live in South Carolina, so they ended up reopening fairly quickly, which was a month, which doesn't seem quick, but compared to other places, it definitely gave me the upper hand and be able to get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of need to get a little creative. I mean, and do whatever you got to do to really stay in shape. I mean, I've heard a few, pretty fun stories from people. I mean, shoot. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, do whatever you got to do. Pick up your brother and throw him across the room a couple times. I mean, I don't know, do some overhead presses. I mean, with something, you got to try and do whatever you got to do to stay in shape. Has there been any part of your game that you've tried to improve upon over this off season?
Definitely. Over the off season, I've had a lot of time, like between school and trying to figure out how to work out, to watch a lot of videos on pro offensive linemen, like in the NFL, and just working on different things that they do. So specifically, I would look at like left tackles. So like Tyron Smith, I look at what he do. Not trying to like mimic how he sets, not trying to mimic how like he works, but just like different hand fighting skills that he did, different sets to which he would do, where there was a jump set or 45 or a vertical set. And then also looking at my own film and seeing what aspects I can improve on. And I realized watching my film that my shoulders and my hips turn fairly quickly. That especially in pass sets, especially against somebody that was more vertical. So I've been working a lot in the off season and now to make sure my hips stay square and my shoulders stay square to the line of scrimmage, and not give that person a possible way to defeat me in the pass game.
I mean, just to kind of go off of that a little bit, I mean, because you said that you've been, watching a lot of film, really on yourself. Let's just kind of switch gears a little bit and really just talk about, some of your opponents. I mean, when you're studying your opponent, what exactly are you looking at? Can you break things down a little bit, maybe about how things have changed over the years? Like, just sort of in general, can you, enlighten me on how you watch film?
Definitely. My freshman, sophomore year, I started, I played, but I can honestly say I didn't really watch film that much. And watching film more my junior year and now has really helped me like take an extra step to my game. I'm able to see things before actually like meeting those people for the first time. So I was able to like notice like different formations and stuff like that. And like specifically for me, I can like take that formation and I can make myself and put myself in a better position for when game time comes. And specifically, like I expect like playing against a defensive end or a specific defensive player, I can watch their film on them and I can notice like different things that they do, whether they're a speed rusher, whether they're a bull rusher, whether they play soft when it's on a run game, and different things that I can do to manipulate that for my benefit.
Cool. So let's just go ahead and talk maybe about one of those moments. I mean, give me maybe like the most memorable moment of your career so far, maybe a highlight that you want to share.
Sure. I know I've told you this before, but my freshman year, I played against Bentley University. It was my first start. And it was just a back and forth game. We were the underdogs. We weren't expected to win. We were versus one of the top teams in our conference. And it just went back and forth, back and forth. They score, we score, they score, we score. And I had a very, very good game for, at least I think my best game for my freshman year was that game. And eventually the game ended up going into overtime. And it went to double overtime. We scored a touchdown, and then they scored a touchdown, and then they were back out on offense. and our defense stopped them on the 2-yard line because one of our linebackers stripped the ball from the running back, and we ended up getting the ball, and then our offense was out there, and all we had to do was score. So practically from that point, we just ran the ball down their throats, and eventually we ended up scoring into the end zone on a specific play to where I was pulling around, and the running back would follow me into the end zone. So that was definitely memorable, and just seeing the images, especially like the after the game fact when our running back Malachi Ball jumped into the end zone. You just see me on the ground on top of somebody while he's standing up with his hands up saying like, we just scored a touchdown, we just won the game. So it was great. It was awesome.
Cool. I mean, winning double overtime is always a great thing. I mean,
Yeah.
And especially against like a rival. I mean, that's great. So let's just take a second and, find out who you are like outside of football. I mean, I have in my notes, you're a health and science major with a minor in healthcare administration. So what are you trying to do with that? I mean, again, obviously, hypothetically outside of football, like where would that put you, like profession-wise?
So there's a lot of different things you can do with a health science major. For me specifically, I'm going to use that as a stepping stool to get my doctorate as a physical therapist. So I've been doing internships and getting my hours to get that, get that foot in the door for PT schools post-graduation, and just see how that fares out.
Cool. And I mean, is there anything else about yourself that, you want to share in this video? Like, any interests, hobbies, passions in life, anything really about yourself that you want to share?
I'm an Eagle Scout. I've been an Eagle Scout ever since I turned 18. Right before then, a lot to do with that is you have to have character. You got to be that type of person that that cares about people, that is a member of the community, proactive member of the community, person that is just all around good. And basically, like being an Eagle Scout, you are set to this higher standard because now you're a marked man, you're a marked person, and you need to, make sure that like you represent all the other Eagle Scouts across the nation. And it's a very high and prestigious honor. I'm very proud to be an Eagle Scout. To go with that, I had to do an Eagle Scout project, and I ended up doing a book exchange box for my hometown, Goshen, New York. I made 3 book exchange boxes, all throughout the town, and pretty much it's just awesome to see like all the positiveness from people saying like we love the book exchange box, we love the donated books, we love the books that people donate, and being able to like read, and like you can't really put a price on knowledge and like that aspect, and being able to get those books to either people that want to read or the people that are less fortunate that can't afford those books. So it definitely works out, and it's still going on today.
Great. I mean, definitely awesome that you were able to do that. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, people maybe don't realize it, but I mean, getting to that Eagle Scout level is not an easy task. I mean, there aren't as many guys maybe as there have been, and it's definitely it's definitely a rarity these days. But I think that's an awesome thing. It really shows that you're a man of character. I was just sitting here thinking, though. I mean, obviously, I mean, you've done a whole lot like in your community. If you did have the opportunity to play at the professional level and were able to use that as a platform for something, like, have you thought about maybe like what you would use that as a platform for?
I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but definitely one thing I try to use that platform for is trying to figure out a cure for Parkinson's disease. Personally, my dad has had Parkinson's disease for 21 years, and it's been tough. It's definitely a tough disease. It's tough to watch. Like medication costs a lot, so possibly figuring out a cure or surgery for it that can help it in the long run would be very beneficial to a lot of people.
Cool. Matt, usually during this point in the interview, I kind of just give you an opportunity to give a little shout out to some of the people that have helped you along the way. Why don't you go ahead and just tell me about maybe one or two coaches and mentors in your life that have helped you, get to where you are.
Definitely. Definitely going to give a shout out to some of my mentors, which are definitely my parents and my brothers, my older brothers. They definitely shaped me into the person that I am, the characteristics that I have, and just the will and the love to play the game of football. Some coaches that I've been able to have been able to mentor me. Definitely Coach Moody, who's our offensive coordinator at Stonehill, and Coach Lab, who's the offensive line coach at Stonehill. They've definitely mentored me into being an even better person. They've taught me so much in the last 3 to 4 years than I probably learned in the last 21 years of my life. So they have been awesome. They've definitely made me like heighten my game from football standpoint, but they also like helped me out personally as well. And then possible teammate I can give a shout out to is Owen Murray. Yeah, he was a left tackle for my freshman sophomore year. He definitely took me under his wing. He taught me how to be an offensive lineman pretty much. I mean, I came into Stonehill, I was raw. I'll plainly say I was raw. I was not the best person. I did not have the best technique. It was just I was a big dude that maybe they can shape into a person that can actually help the team. And Owen definitely helped me out in that standpoint. He definitely made me a better player, made me like an enforcer on the offensive line, and definitely made me a better person.
Gotcha. So my next question for you, Matt, is really just the why question. Tell me why you play football, maybe just a little bit of that motivation.
Sure. To start out, why I played football from a young age, I don't know. My family kind of threw me into it. So a lot of my friends were playing football, so I'm like, yeah, like let me play football. So I definitely started. I started at a young age, ripe old age of 6 years old, and I enjoyed it. Like football's a lot of fun. Like people think it's stressful, but it's not. It's like when you're having fun, like football's football. But definitely a lot of influences on that was my older brother, because he played football as well. So just like getting me into the door and then realizing, wow, like this game's a lot of fun. Like there's no other game like this. There's no other sport like this. So that definitely was great for me. And then now for me now, like why I play football and like why I do the things I do is like one, I love it. Like I've been with the sport for most of my life, and like for the past 15 years of my life, and like you can't really build a better bond with anything like that. And then two, it's made me into a better man. It's made me into a better person. It definitely taught me a lot of life lessons, and like being a team player and being a leader than I think anything else besides being an Eagle Scout has taught me.
Cool. And very last thing for you, Bud, give me 30 seconds worth of a pitch to a professional team. I mean, why should they take a chance on you? What would you bring as a teammate?
So I'm definitely a person that's a team player. I also am very coachable. Like I said earlier in the interview, like when you give me something, I can work at it. I can get better at it. It takes little to no time. You give me something, I'll rep it 3 times and I'll have it perfected. Like I will work my butt off to be at a better and like heightened position. Like wherever they need me or wherever like you need me, I'm going to be able to play that. And it might take a little bit of time, but it's definitely worth it in the end.
Cool. Well, I mean, I definitely feel like you are a very versatile player that, they can move you around a little bit. I mean, they can move you, there at guard or really at either tackle position, like if there's an area of need. So, I mean, you definitely bring a lot to the table in that regard. And then, of course, you being a good student, a player with good work ethic, Man, I definitely feel like that's something that you do bring to the table. And people just need to, check you out, turn on the tape. So, but hey, Matt, this has been cool. I do appreciate your time. Um, Again, this is Matthew Marvin, who's an offensive lineman at Stonehill College. Check him out.